Hello everyone, I want to clarify some things about the new carpetless setup because I've seen runners mess with it and some people have had more success than others, and I think there's some things that they should be aware of that will potentially make it a lot easier or more consistent. First of all, there is the wall scoot or push after the ledge grab, so let's have a look at that first. Let's just ledge grab and get back up. By the way, the values you're seeing are basically just Mario's angle and then the X, Y, and Z positions. I think most of those addresses are standard addresses in usamune. The angle you'll need a code for, but that'll be in the description. Basically, the only thing that's important is that you have a perfect right. So for example, let's say I'm doing like this. So that's like slightly above perfect right. That's not good because you can see the angle is fucked. The X position is not an integer, so that's just not good, and it needs to be 000. I think the best way to do this is on controller to just like do an absolutely tiny tap to the right so you can actually use the dead zone to make the right more perfect. So for example, something like this, like just 11 right or at least 8 right, and then the dead zone will help a lot to make it a perfect right. And you can only do this for like at most 2 frames. If you press right for more than 2 frames, you'll actually start moving and changing your angle and stuff, so that's bad. So basically you want a tiny tap to the right, well, anywhere between 8 and 127, but a small tap should be easier on controller. Okay, so next up we have the crawling and uncrawling. So I've seen some people do this in an inconsistent way. The most important thing is that you can crawl and uncrawl completely buffered. And you should always be holding a joystick angle that is like ahead of where you're turning, so you're doing full turn frames. So let me explain what I mean. On controller, you want to initiate the crawling by pressing Z, like this. And then while Mario is crouching down, you can actually take that time to move the joystick from neutral to, you know, somewhere left-ish. And then you can start actually doing the turn. This is important to make sure that it's like fully buffered and you don't start turning with like weird speeds or angles. So you just turn, 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 turn. Make sure that the joystick is ahead of where Mario is, and then you'll end up with your joystick somewhere over here, and we need an angle of 3720. So the important thing is to just keep the joystick where it is. Do not let it go to neutral, just keep it there. Wait until you hit 3720 and then just release Z. Do not change the joystick, just release Z, just like this. And then Mario will get up and you can slowly get the joystick back to neutral, and it's fine. And the same is of course true for the second crawl. It's exactly the same stuff. Just 1, 2, 3, release Z, and slowly, you have all the time in the world to go back to neutral, it's fine. Alright, so another thing people are potentially misunderstanding is how to press up on the well, before the double jump. So first of all, we did the whole setup and now we can jump or jump kick. So let's just do a regular jump, doesn't matter. So we're completely neutral here, that's fine. At a certain point we're gonna land. Yeah, I think from this point on Mario is basically landing. Because we have 0 speed and Mario is landing, we have like 4 or 5 frames to like start tilting the joystick upward. Alright, so we're landing. Push it forward a little bit. Push it forward more. So you have like, I don't know, maybe 3 frames for this. And then we do the 3-frame double jump. So like 1, 2, 3. There's a 1/4 frame landing here, which is a little bit hard to time maybe, but yeah, there it is, the 1/4 frame landing. Doesn't really matter. Another thing to talk about is pausing and unpausing. Some runners may not be aware that you can actually unpause the game using A and that might make it a little bit easier to do pause buffering and also to do the final unpause before the second glitchy wall kick without messing up your down right angle, because pressing start on the controller is a little bit awkward. So this is the first frame of the first glitchy wall kick. We're holding A, we're holding forward, that's completely fine. We're going to advance a few frames. At some point you're going to pause by just pressing start, that's completely fine. This is what the pause screen looks like if you actually have 0 stars in Rainbow Ride, which is going to be the case most of the time if you're doing this in an actual run. Now we can let go of A and start, and that's completely fine. As you can see, we're not quite at the right position yet, so we need to get a little bit further. So let's just do that. We can unpause with A and then at a certain point press start again, so like this. There we go, and now we're at the right frame. So there you go. Now we can release A again. We can find our down right notch. So that's gonna, let's see, that's gonna look something like this. We're finding the notch, whatever. Okay, so we're at the notch, 80-80. Now we can unpause with A, and now you gotta really just be focused on holding that down right angle. Some runners, because they want to prepare for the straining after the second glitchy wall kick, they'll start like moving the joystick before even hitting the wall, which is obviously not good. The straining after the second glitchy wall kick is actually pretty forgiving, so it should be fine to just keep holding down right even after the second glitchy wall kick for a little bit. So let's just unpause with A. Remember that you need a couple more frames of A to get the full jump, so let's just do that. A couple more frames of A to get the maximum jump height. That's probably enough. Okay, now we're gonna wait until we hit the wall. There we go, we hit the wall. So notice we are still holding down right, and now we can do the wall kick, and we can still hold down right for a couple frames. Alright, so we can start going from down right to kind of upright-ish, and it's not very precise. You just kind of need to do something like this. You just got to get a feel for it, and then you'll just start walking up the roof and you can do your jump kicks or whatever, so that's completely fine. One other thing I want to mention about the second pause and save states on Usamune is that Usamune, I don't think it lets you actually make a state on the pause menu and stay in the pause menu, because the start button already makes the state, and so that makes it so that the save state you make is not on the same frame as what you would have in the start menu. It's kind of confusing. I might be wrong about some of this, but I think some runners had issues with this, and I think for now it's safer to just not try to make a state here. Just make a state after you do the setup and just practice the whole thing from there. Because, I don't know, Usamune does something with the save state where it's a frame ahead or behind relative to the start menu, and then the setup is not the same, and it's just annoying. So just don't save state here is what I would say for now, until someone can give a better explanation of why Usamune is a little bit different.